I guess I have to put my picture up there. All right, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. We have a great topic tonight. We are going to talk about the 5 mistakes you never want to make over text, and we'll talk about what to do or what to send instead. So, hey, Kaylee, good to see you. Are you? Oh, hi, everybody. Okay, here we go. I am going to go to Facebook, and then I am gonna find me shield. Whoopsie. Okay, let's see what's going on out there. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Did anybody have a good Thanksgiving? I'd love to know. Are you? Oh, hi, everybody. Okay. Hi, Lisa Cohen. Hello, Ellie and Sarita and Kaylee. This is lovely. It's good to see all of you. How was your Thanksgiving? And please, to anybody who's new, please say hello so that I can know who had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I want to know who's out there. Kaylee said she had a blast with her family. Oh, your uncle got a puppy who's cute. What kind of puppy did he get? I'm very curious. Hi, Simone. Hello, hello, hello. How are you? I saw that you got together with Rebecca and Anne, and you took some gorgeous photos of them. That was really amazing. I am so jealous. Hi, Donna and Kay. It's good to see you. All right. Tonight's subject, we're going to talk about texting, everybody's favorite topic. But before I do that, I am going to share just Jerry and I and the bird. We actually had friends. Hey, Vicki, good to see you. We actually had some friends to get together with. So that was pretty amazing here in Santa Fe. It was really lovely. Join me. Let me just share this. Join me for my Facebook Live. We've got a great subject today. So all of your questions, everybody get your questions ready for the talk tonight, because we're going to talk about texting. And I know that this is interesting to a lot of you. Why is this not sharing to everything? Maybe they changed this again. Darn, this is a bummer. Facebook keeps changing things and they just make it worse and not better. There was a way to share to everything, and now it's making me share every single one of these separately again. All right. More options. This is very strange. Maybe there's a quicker way to do this. Okay, so what I'm kind of curious how texting is going for everybody and how you all are doing. Tim, there was a way to share everything all at once to every group, and I had way too many groups, I have to say. I need a few less groups. All right, let's see here. One more. Hey, Christine, who else is new? I want to know who's out there who's new that I don't know. Who's new that's coming on that I've never seen before? You guys can't hang out and just be incognito. I need to know who's out there. Lisa, you had a pretty good Thanksgiving. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about texting, and we're going to talk about, all right. They did not do a good thing here. Okay. So we're going to talk about texting today. And let me just see here. Why is this not doing this? Okay. It doesn't let me share to my personal page, my Facebook Live. Okay, here we go. All right, I think I did it. Okay, everybody. So let's talk about okay. All right, so let's talk about texting. How does that sound? Hi, Judy. Good to see you. Beverly, it's good to meet you. All right, anybody who's new? Donna's new. I want to see some new faces. I want to know who's out there. Jeanette, good to see you. All right, so let's talk about texting. There are plenty of things that you shouldn't do when you text. Plenty of things. The first thing I'm going to talk about is being too boring over text. So this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make, and it is a killer. If you are not good over text, you are going to lose these guys like that. And it's, hi, Lori, good to see you. You have to be able to capture their attention. And if you're not fun and playful, this is the same as being fun and playful at a bar. Texting is like, you have to think about, essentially, we're doing everything virtually that we used to do in person. So an online dating site, the dating apps, those are like virtual singles parties. And texting is just like virtual flirting. And so if you're too boring, hey, it's good to see you, Lori. I hope everything's going well. So if you're not being fun enough, if you're not being playful enough, and it doesn't mean just coming back with a response to a guy's message. Hey, Caroline, I didn't see you there, honey. You need to be able to come back with a fun, playful, catchy text. So you don't want to talk about serious conversations over text. Things get misconstrued, and you want to use a lot of emojis to keep it fun and to convey emotion, especially if you're saying something that's could be interpreted several different ways. You've got to use emojis to let I know that you're being playful, right? So if a guy, if you're texting with a guy and he says, what are you doing right now? You don't want to say, oh, I just got home from work and I'm making dinner. That's not going to be exciting. You want to say something like, oh, what am I doing right now? I'm thinking of you, right? With a wink or something. So what works about that text? Does anybody know why that text would be a good text to send? I'm curious. I can't have all the answers here, ladies. You guys got to think for yourselves. Why would that be a good text? There's a lag time on this thing. So I will tell you, it's a good text because it's connective. It's connecting, right? You're not just talking about you and I just got home from work and I'm cooking. Or Rebecca, who's our texting queen, says, wouldn't you like to know? So that's a great text too, Rebecca. Why? Because it gets his little sexy mind going a little bit, right? But if you just say, or if you say, I'm thinking about you, it then is a connection. You're taking it back to him. You're not just talking about you. You're creating a connection. It's like a volleyball. You're hitting it back to him. Oh, I'm just, now I'm thinking about you. So, or wouldn't you like to know? The use of the word you is yes, it launches other thoughts. The use of the word you in your text creates playfulness. It creates connection. People love to hear their own name, and they love to hear the word you, not the word I, so much. I'm thinking about you, or even what Rebecca said, wouldn't you like to know? What are some other responses? I'm curious from some of you women out there. Let's use these brains. What else could you say? What else would be a great response if a guy says, what are you doing right now? What would you all say to him? Let's get some other fun, flirty responses. Come on, Jeanette, Brenda, Lori, let's get some fun stuff going. Lisa Cohen, what would you say to this guy if he texted you and said, what are you doing right now? I'm curious what all you ladies would say. other than I just got home from work, or I'm cooking dinner, or, I've got some work to do tonight, what would you say? Or I'm going to take my dog for a walk. What are some other things that you could answer to that would be really fun and get this guy's imagination going? Anybody? I know I'm not talking in a vacuum here because I see the number of people. If you call me, I will tell you exactly. I'm thinking about your kisses, picking out what to wear for the next time you ask me out. Brilliant. These are excellent responses. How many of you have tried these? Sitting here by the fireplace, drinking a glass of wine. And Vicki, you would say, it's too bad, I would love some company, something like that, with a wink, right? So connect it back to him. Make him think that you're thinking about him, that you would love to see him, that you would love to get together. All of these are great responses. The one thing you don't want to do is give a serious answer to a serious question if you want to really capture this guy's imagination and not have him yawning. Okay? The second thing is something that's really boring is if you're just making it all about you. So again, back to what I was saying earlier, you want to connect to him. You want to talk about him. You want to ask about what he's doing, what's going on, right? But you want to talk about the guy, not just about you. So even if he asks you a question about you, you want to talk about him. You want to get him opening up, and you want him, you want to make it about him. Or you can talk about other things. Does this include messaging men on dating sites? Absolutely, Lisa. One of the biggest mistakes we make is not showing enough interest in these guys and in not making this exciting. So very often I will ask my clients, how is your messaging going? What are you writing over text? Are you being fun? Are you being playful? Are you being flirty? And they will say to me, yes, I'm being very fun and playful and flirty. And then I'll look at their messages. I'll go online with them and I'll look at some of their threads, and they're boring. It's like, oh, well, I picked something out of his profile to comment on, and that's not playful, fun, or flirty. It's not funny or all you're going to do is have a head conversation. When you're in your heart, that's where playfulness, fun, flirtation, those are all things that come from the heart. So if you're just looking at a man's profile and just commenting on something, oh, I see that you went to Amsterdam last year. I went to Amsterdam too. What was your favorite place? That's not fun and flirty. You could ask that to a friend. If you're trying to create a beautiful, fun, playful, emotional connection with a man, it's going to be boring, and the guy isn't going to really write back. It's going to, they would die if they read my threads. I bet, Rebecca, well, you're good at this. You've got a great sense of humor. Lisa Cohen said, I exchanged a couple of great messages with the man, then asked him about what qualities he desires in a woman, and I didn't hear back from him. Yeah, I don't know what it was about that question, Lisa. It's a good question. I have no idea. Yeah, Judy, it's really interesting because, flirtation and playfulness are what are attractive. When my puppy wants to play, he gets down on his, paws, he leans down, he wiggles his butt, he brings me a toy. But that's what's fun, playfulness and flirtation. So Lisa says, he identified himself as the candy man. What playful, fun, flirty questions can I ask him? You can say, I don't know, Sour Patch Kids are my favorite candy. What's yours? Anything, you can make a joke about, Rebecca said, Lisa, I think I'm having a little, a little bit of a, yeah. I think I'm having a little bit of a lag with my computer. It was freezing. But, just play with him. If somebody goes silent, just, say, did you not like my last question? Or cat got your tongue, but just here, Rebecca said, how does a girl get to see your sweet side, Mr. Candyman? So this is a great example of fun texting. These are the kinds of responses, but you want to be interested in them and playful at the same time. And you also just don't want to talk about yourself all the time. You want to be interested in him, and you want to have fun things going on in your life to talk about, right? Like, oh my God, I am taking the wildest pole dancing class. Boy, if you could have been a fly on the wall, you should have seen me tonight doing my routine or something, right? But play with these guys, have an interesting life, and make your life sound. Don't just ask questions about, what do you want? What are you looking for? Whatever. But talk about your interesting life, your fun friends, what you do. I was playing about the pole dancing class, but in LA, lots of women are taking, I can't remember her name, Sheila Kelly has a thing, a pole dance. It's a big deal. Women love it. Um, Rebecca is the texting queen. So anybody, oh, I know, I just froze up. I know. All right. So the next thing is one of the biggest, and I go over this with my women all the time. You have got to move the conversation forward. You cannot sit there and just respond to his texts all the time and just sit there and keep responding and become pen pals with somebody. You have got to move forward the agenda. Kay says she took pole dancing classes. Kay, you never cease to amaze me. That is amazing. All right, so Linda says, I get tired of all the texting. A phone call is nice. It shows more of an interest to me, right? Yes, it is nice, Linda, to have phone calls too. That's something else that I'm going to talk about in a minute. Another mistake that we make is not shaking it up. So the first thing is you've got to move the agenda forward. A lot of these guys are gun shy. They've asked women for their phone numbers and they've gotten shut down. It's crazy what happens for these guys. And so you've got to understand they take the initiative and then they get shot down. And then they don't know if you want them. Hi, Annette. Good to see you, honey. They don't know if you want them to ask you out, if you want them to get on the phone, if you don't want them to get on the phone. So one of the big mistakes women make is not letting a man know, hey, I'd love to hear the sound of your voice. Or I bet if you asked for my phone number, I'd give it to you. Or, hey, what do you think about moving this to a phone call, or jumping on a Zoom call? I'm getting it's getting a little boring over here all by myself, and with a wink, and make it sound fun. One of the most important things you always want to do on text, when you email, and even when you're asking for what you want from a man, you want to make it inviting. You want to pose it as an invitation. So the more inviting, the more playful you are, the more these men are going to say yes. So instead of saying, let's get on a call, you want to say, Would you be, oh, I would love to get on a call. It's getting, it's awfully lonely over here during COVID. It would be wonderful, to have someone to chat with. Would you, I would love that. So make it an invitation. Always ask when you ask for a man from something, from a man, make it inviting. Okay. Another thing that we do that a lot of women do is that a big mistake is that we wait, we play games. We're so worried about looking anxious and too eager and whatever that we wait to respond to texts rather than, look, it's okay. If a guy writes to you, you can write him back right away. Every time you're not going to be able to do that. You may be at work, you may have stuff going on, you may be with your friends, and sometimes you won't be able to respond immediately, and that's okay. But don't play games. Don't not write to a guy. If you're sitting there and a text pops up and you're genuinely excited to hear from him, write him back and say, oh my gosh, I was just thinking of you and your text appeared. Make him feel welcome. Don't be afraid. Rebecca said, I heard a 15-minute phone call is the same as 5,000 text messages. I don't know. I think good texting is an art, Rebecca. I really do. I don't know, but I think that that's very funny. I think some dating coach came up with a clever line and, and it's going around. There was a line about some self-help guru made a comment about how we're human beings, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And then every single person was making that comment. So I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. I think whatever. I think that it's all important. And I think it's super important for people, for everybody to get, look, the fun is practice over text. That's the great thing about texting. You can send a message, and if it falls flat, you're not sitting there looking at the guy on the phone and feeling humiliated and, turning beet red because it didn't land. But if you put it out there and it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. Or then you can come back and send another message and just say, wow, guess that one didn't land, LOL, and just make it fun. Have fun with it. Don't take it all so seriously. Let's see here. The other thing, something else, goes back to what Linda, you were just saying, something that you really want to do is shake it up. So you don't just want to text messages all the time. You can send a meme. You can send a selfie. You could send a voice message. You don't even have to get on the phone. You could be brave and actually send him a little voice message over text. How many of you have done that? Has anybody ever sent a little voice message over text to somebody that you were chatting with or talking to? Anybody? Just thought, hey, I'm just going to jump. I'm going to just do a little voice message. Has anybody ever tried that? There's such a lag on this thing. It's crazy. I would love to know if anybody's ever sent a little voice message just to break it up a little bit. I think that there's a lot of ways. Yes, Kaylee did. Kaylee, how did it go when you did it? Did it go well? Did it not go well? I haven't, but someone did it for you, Lori, and you loved it. Yeah, it's great to hear a voice. And sometimes, we're all busy. Hey, Stephen, it's great to see you. We're all busy. And how many people, like for me, I work a long day. Like the last thing I want to do is have to get on a phone call with somebody. So now it's easier to Marco Polo or use Voxer. I don't know if any of you use Voxer or Marco Polo or or just send a quick voice message over text, but it's really nice and quick. And you don't have to sit there and have a full-on conversation with somebody. So all of those things are good, fun things that you can do, besides just texting. Yeah, Brenda says tone of voice adds so much to typed words. It really does. It makes such a huge difference, Brenda. And that said, it's a great way to stand out. I'll remember that for sure. Yeah, WhatsApp is another one. Yeah, I don't use WhatsApp, Lisa. I've never used it. There's so many things. Has anyone used Marco Polo? I use Marco Polo a lot. I really, really like Marco Polo. It's been great for me. Really, really, really great. Another huge mistake we make really is, just getting stuck in texting. Like you will get stuck texting back and forth. And it's very, very easy to lose the interest in the thread. The quicker you can all move this to a phone conversation, the better. So you really, really, really want to, I like Marco Polo a lot, Lisa. So you really want to get to a phone conversation or a Zoom or something. But the quicker you can do that, the better, because, there's an expiration date. I can't remember the amount of days. Judy, Marco Polo is a video app. So it's actually a video app where you can hold your phone out and do a little quick video and send it to someone, and then they can video you back. And it's a great way. Instead of doing text, you do like video texts. And it's really fantastic. I like it a lot. Lisa says, what's happening to me now? I let Philip know I would love to hear his voice, and he's still texting me. And just, Lisa, you can say, I would say I feel like we're becoming pen pals, and if at some point he doesn't really do this, and you guys have been dating and you've been seeing him, you can just get curious and say, Philip, hey, I've mentioned a few times that I would love to talk on the phone, or that I'd love to hear your voice. And I'm curious, is it that you just don't like the phone? Is it that you don't have time to talk on the phone? Just ask him flat out. If you've suggested it, that you would love to hear his voice and he's still texting you, just ask him. Just say, is it that you just don't like talking on the phone? Is it that, whatever, but just ask him. There's nothing wrong with that. Men like you haven't met. Well, I would just say, like, I would, we're becoming pen pals. I feel like we're pen pals. I'd love to hear your voice. When can we, when would you be available to jump on a call? Oh, he lives in Brooklyn. Okay. Well, that makes sense. That makes lots of sense. Does anybody have any questions about texting, about dating in general? What's going on with all of you? I'm curious. I'd love to know what's up. What are some of the things that are coming up? And if you're new and you're coming on, please say hello. I would love, love, love to hear from some of you. These are the kinds of mistakes that many of you are making. You're not being fun enough over text. You think that you're being engaging and whatever, and you're boring these guys. So, these are the kinds of things that working with a love coach like me can really help you see that, you're not separating yourself from other women. Hi, CL, it's great to see you. Thanks for saying hi. But there are many, many, many mistakes, like not being interesting enough over text. And hey, Hannah, it's great to see you. Okay, Faye says, is there any way to bring it back if he's lost interest from being boring? Seems I've been doing everything you said not to do. Well, Faye, just, write to him and say, hey, handsome, with a wink, and just say, like, I've missed hearing from you. And be flirty, hey, handsome is flirtatious, and that's going to get his interest. I miss hearing from you. That's vulnerable, right? It's boring over here when I don't hear from you. Lisa said, I spoke to a man tonight. He's suggesting a hike. Well, maybe, Lisa, you can say a hike, a hike might be a good thing, but, maybe maybe, it's a little chilly, you can say, it's a little chilly. Would you be open, could we do something a little warmer? It's something like that. But just ask him to do, do something a little bit warmer. Annette says, what are some fun things to say to engage them and sound playful? Well, I've been giving examples all along, Annette, but, saying, hey, handsome, with a wink, or things like, Rebecca gave some great suggestions earlier on about, let me go back here. Sometimes it's got to be in the moment based, responding to something that they said. But, we were talking a little bit earlier about, you've got to be playful, and you've got to not give them straight answers. You need to use emojis. You need to be a little bit, a little challenging, a little bit provocative. Let's see here. And there's a bunch of this stuff. There's one texting thing that you can download called Textuality. It's on my website. And then in the 5th week of the course, there's also a whole book about things to text. Lisa says, I'm going to let him know that a hike sounds great, yet I would feel comfortable having a coffee date for the first date. And then you want to say, would you be okay with that? Okay. So don't tell him, ask a question so that he can feel like he's making the choice. So men like to feel like they're making the choice and that we're not telling them what to do or shooting them down. Okay. Simone says it's better to hear me so they can hear my Swiss accent. Simone, it's good to look at you too, honey. They're just as good looking at you as they are, but hearing the Swiss accent together is really the whole package. Lori said, I seem to be running into men waiting for me to suggest getting together. I'm not sure how to navigate that. Do I just accept that I need to accept it? Well, Lori, it's like, I bet if you asked me on a date, I would say yes, right? I bet if you would ask me out, I would agree. Why don't you give me a try and see what I say? But you want to make it a challenge so they have to ask you out rather than you asking them out. So you make it fun, you make it playful, but you put the ball in their court, but you let them know that you would love to do it, right? That you let them know that you're open, but that they need to ask you. So Brenda says, how many times back and forth while texting is too many? I think it's not how many texts back and forth, Brenda, but how long you're texting without moving it forward. So you don't want to have days and weeks of texting with a guy. You want to see it progressing to something. There are, I think 30% of men online are either married or in relationships. And there are many men who go online and they'll flirt with women, just to pass the time or because they're bored with their girlfriends or their wives, and they'll do it for fun. But then if you try to get them to a phone call or to a date, that's how you bust them. So you don't want to go on too long with these guys because some of them are not available. That's just the truth. Lisa said, hello there. Hello. What's a handsome man doing like you doing in a place like this? Yeah, it's just a coy, funny, familiar pickup line that's actually kind of cute. That line engages men in conversation with me, adding a wink emoji at the end. Yeah, that's really cute, Lisa. It works. Who else has questions? Who else wants to know about texting? How, what's going on with you, with all of you out there? I'd love to know. Okay, Christine. Hello, Christine Chase. Let's see here. Let's see. Christine says, trying to get back out there after a 9-month toxic relationship. I have several men asking me out texting. I was married 20 years and I'm a little old-fashioned, but want to meet a few new people to see my options. However, it feels a bit overwhelming. Let's see here. It feels a bit overwhelming. What's your thoughts on where to set a limit? In what way are you setting a limit, Christine? Do you mean in the amount of texting? How many? I'm not sure what's overwhelming for you. Are you getting too many messages? Is the texting going on too long? Like, what's going on? What's going on there that you're feeling All right. So let's see here. I just need a little insight over, okay. I'm interested to know. All right. Sorry, I had to block somebody from the conversation. So Christine, I need a little bit more information. Does it feel overwhelming just to be getting back out there? Like, what's up? Are you feeling how many men to talk to at once? Okay, that makes more sense. So usually 3, 3 guys to juggle at once is just fine. And then, one will fall off and then you'll decide, you'll bring another person in, but 3 is a good amount. You couldn't possibly handle more than that, and then when one guy, you go, nope, you go on a date with them and you're like, nope, next, then you can open up another slot for a new guy, so I would say 3 at a time. Anything more than that is going to get confusing and overwhelming. And even if you get a lot of messages, look, you'll get a lot of messages, but that'll also taper off after a while. So, you usually get a lot in the beginning, and then you'll get, it'll slow down after you're out there for a little while. Who else has questions about dating, about coaching, about what a coach can do for you, how coaching can help you really shift what's going on? One of the big issues, one of the huge issues from a lot of people, which you don't realize, is this is one of the hardest ways. Dating is one of the hardest things to see your own blind spots. People are under the illusion that you keep, just going out and dating and dating and dating, and that you're just going to meet the right guy. Well, if you keep making the same mistakes over and over again, you're just going to keep going through guys, but it's never going to go anywhere, or you're going to keep repeating the same patterns. So that's where a great coach comes in. That's where learning how to flirt with men over text and having a coach that's going to help you see your blind spots is really going to make this happen faster. So, hi, Vanetta. Vanetta said, how are you? I see you looking happy. I would like to ask you a question about texting. And if they keep texting you, should I ask to meet? And let's texting. I've been, yes, Vanetta, you don't want to let the texting just keep going on and on and on. You've got to take it, from a couple of days of texting and then get it to a phone call, a Zoom call, a date. But you want to keep progressing this. You don't want to just stay on text for too long. Lynn says, my state has banned indoor dining, but some places are not following the guidelines. How to nicely steer a guy away from the place he knows that is still doing. Where do you live, Lynn? Oh my goodness. Wow. That's not a good thing. Yeah, just say, Lynn, I love that you have a place that you can still go for indoor dining. And, would you be open to going for a walk or grabbing some coffee or doing something outdoors. I would feel so much safer doing that. And men, oh, Illinois, well, there you go. A man who really cares about you and respects women and is looking out for your safety, Lynn, he's going to take your advice. He's going to say, going to want to do what makes you feel safe. Men are going to make suggestions because most of the time women put that on the guys. We want them to be the ones making the suggestions, figuring out the date, but you also have to understand that we want them to plan the dates and do all of that. And then a lot of times we don't like their suggestions. So, be thoughtful in the way that you say it. Just say, thank you for that wonderful suggestion. Aren't you lucky that you still have a place that's doing indoor dining? To be, honest, I really would feel more comfortable, if you don't mind, doing something outside right now. They says if things simply don't progress, what point do you decide that he isn't your guy or that maybe he's very shy? It's a great question, Faye. If it were me and I was dating somebody or I was interested in someone, I would cut it off, within a week or two, like within a couple of weeks if he wasn't showing up. You want to find somebody who's available, who really wants a relationship and who has time for that. We all sit there and we invest so much time while we sit on the fence and we overthink things and whatever. Once you meet a guy who's totally into you and you see what it's like to have a man who really pursues you, you'll never sit around and wait for some guy again to get his act together. Once I got this, it was like, I want a guy that's in move-in condition, not a fixer-upper. I tried that for 13 years in my first marriage. Trust me, it didn't work. There came a point where I was like, I want a mature guy who knows what he wants and is ready to do this. And that's really what you're looking for. Hannah says, I'm a very young 74-year-old, healthy and full of energy on all levels. Most men in my age group can't keep up with me. Many men contact me, haven't met a suitable match. I used to put my age at 5 years younger. Recently, I put my real age. Any suggestions? Hannah, you may want to date some younger men. I know women your age, and there are men who will absolutely date you who are 69, in that age range, and who are happy to date a woman who's really active and, so I would look younger. I would put you don't want to put your age younger. I know a lot of people are conflicted about that, but I would definitely let these men know, put yourself out there and try dating see if it may help to have your age down a bit, because people are kind of ageist. So if you can get away with 69, I'd put 69 and date men that are a little bit younger than you. Vanetta said, oh yes, thank you. And again, texting, they're telling you how much he loves you, texting, asking for, Vanetta, if people are asking to borrow money, they're scammers and telling you that they love you before they met you. Those men are scammers. So don't ever give money to a guy that you met online unless you've known him for a long time and you're in a relationship. I wouldn't. But Hannah, I have had a lot of clients in your age range, and they found great partners. A lot of men, I think I got part of a message. But, I've had a lot of clients in your age range who have met people, and there's some good guys out there. Having the right photographs, getting the right profile, all of those things are super important. And, like I started this conversation off today, it's about being able to flirt over text and keep up a great conversation. A lot of men get upset if you're not honest about age. Hannah, half of them aren't honest about their ages. A lot of those men that are putting their ages, they're younger. They're older than they say they are. So, I don't know what to tell you. Everybody fudges their age a little bit. And it's because the search engines cut off at different ages, and if you're super young for your age and you're going to get, older men coming, men that are 85 writing to you, that's not going to work for you either. So, just tell them right away that you're a bit older than you wrote. Hey, Debbie, good to see you. I hope you're well. So Hannah, whatever, they're not in their real ages either. Men aren't honest about their size. Which size, Lisa? Which size? Do you mean their height or their the size of their? Well, they don't put that in their profile for sure. I know you don't mean shoe size. So yeah, but Hannah, there's great men out there, and I don't know if you had professional photos taken. Lisa said, I had a date with a man on Sunday who was easily 50 pounds heavier than his photos. Yeah, well, women do that too, Lisa. They do the same thing. Hi, Karen. Their weight. Karen said, what kind of vulnerability do you think is attractive versus scary to men? Well, my husband made a great comment. We were on a group call for the course the other day. And when we got off, Benjamin looked at me and he said, a lot of women confuse emotion with vulnerability. So, it's very, very easy to confuse being emotional with being vulnerable. So just because you're emotional, about something and you're upset or whatever, and you're asking for help, that's not necessarily vulnerability. Vulnerability is, the deepest vulnerability is two people sharing how they feel about each other or what they think about each other. I miss you. I love you. I need you. You're amazing. Having you in my life has, changed everything. Those are the kinds of things that are the most vulnerable at all. And then sharing the things that you really do feel. If somebody knew about you, a man knew, he'd reject you. So in one of my private coaching courses, the theme for that month, this particular course, we have a different theme every month. It's called The Sisterhood of Self-Actualized Women. And it was very beautiful. We went around the circle and all of the women shared something that they felt, if I told a man this, or if a man found this out about me, he would reject me. And so the women went around the circle. Some of them shared that they had herpes. Some of the women shared that they had an affair with a married man. Some of the women shared that they were ashamed for having stayed in an abusive relationship. It was really beautiful. But those were, some of the women had abortions and they were ashamed about that. So it was really, really beautiful. But those were the kinds of things that if I told a man I've got herpes, will he reject me? Will he think I'm not good enough? So that's genuine vulnerability without all the hysterics and the emotion and, and all the drama, but the real life stuff that's hard to talk about, that you don't want someone to see. So those are the things that are that's real vulnerability. What's scary to men are needy women who pretend like they are independent and they have it all together. And then those women turn out to be very needy. They don't have it together, Yeah, they don't really, once they get into a relationship, they get demanding. They tell the man he's not showing up the right way. And, they want this and they want that. And that's what's really scary to men. Men are so afraid of losing their freedom. That's what most men are afraid of with women. They're afraid of losing their personal freedom and their sexual independence. So those are the two big fears. When men get into relationships, they're afraid that the women are going to try to control them and own them and change them. So that's the hardest thing for men. Other questions? Anybody else? Come on. We've got 9 more minutes here. Bring me on some good ones. Bring me up some good stuff, ladies. Come on, I know it ain't easy out there. I know that you are all struggling to find your man. So who has questions? How soon do you share something so vulnerable? Great question, Judy. So when you are getting into the if you really feel that both of you are on the same page and that you really like each other, and you really do think that it's going in a good direction, and there's a very real sense that you're both, that you're both in, then probably somewhere on or after the 5th date. So date 5 usually tends to be a really good, time to start to talk about that stuff. That's when my husband Benjamin sat me down and shared some things about his health and finances and things that he felt that I should know about him. Very, very sweet. It was really beautiful. And it brought us closer because, he gave me the option of, do you really want to, if you know these things about me, he has some autoimmune conditions. And then there were some things financially from his divorce that he wanted me to know about. And it was actually so kind and thoughtful of him to share those things with me. And it allowed me to sit back and say, yeah, I want to be with this guy. I don't care. I really love him, and I really love who he's showing, the kind of man that he was showing me he is. So it gave me that opportunity, but somewhere on or after the 5th date. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for your wise words, but can you help women in other countries too? I do work with women all over the world, Andrea. I live in Sweden, and nothing in dating all across the world applies here, really nothing. Men as providers, courting, etc. None of that exists here. This is the land of equality. I cannot date any Swedish or Scandinavian men, but I live here. I get it, and I've heard this, and it's a shame because with such equality, you also lose that, the sexiness. Part of what, Andrea, makes a relationship between a man sexy is that pull between the masculine and feminine energies. So when a man is in his masculine and a woman is in her feminine, it's those two energies playing, butting up against each other. And when you have a really strong masculine man and a really feminine woman, that's where it's sexy as hell. So I get it. And you may want to post, the great thing about Europe is the countries are not that far apart. And you can also look for foreign men who are living in Sweden. So you could look for foreigners and only date foreigners who are living there, or you could date some men in neighboring countries. That would be my suggestion. There's a lot of sites, like there is a site, there's a site called Spiritual Singles, which is I think it's worldwide. And Simone says date in Germany, and Simone is Swiss, so she knows. But you can date men from other countries, or even date men from other countries who live where you live. Hannah said, what dating sites do you recommend? So Hannah, more and more people are moving off of the regular sites like Match.com and the online dating sites onto the apps. I think it's a shame because you can't post a full profile. You really can't, but many people are getting off of those sites. There are sites like Single People or Senior People Meet and Our Time, which are for an older audience. Those may be good. Zoosk, sometimes on Zoosk, there are some men that are more your age, more mature men. And, Bumble, Tinder, Hinge. Yeah, Lisa Cohen says she's getting a lot of dates on Tinder. All right, Vicky, what do you think of men who say they are living with their parents to help take care of them? This is a turnoff for me. I don't think you can have a relationship. Wow, how many men are you meeting that are living with their parents, Vicky? That's crazy. I could understand a couple, but that's really wild. I don't know. I would want to know more. I would really want to understand what's going on there. You could meet a man who has a heart of gold and really is a great guy, and he loves his parents, or he loves it, and he's just being a wonderful son. And you could also meet a guy that's really not, he just doesn't have his life and his act together. I don't know. I really don't know. I would want to know more about it. I mean, there's a million reasons why somebody would find himself, under those circumstances. But yeah, I just think that you really do have to just investigate. I mean, he could be a man-child, and just not have a life. He may have siblings that don't show up, and he may be a really wonderful man who loves his family. I mean, my husband was so good to his parents. It was amazing. And, his mother refused to come and live with us, but Benjamin and I would have figured something out if his mother needed to do that, I mean, we loved her, and we would have done whatever we needed to do for for her. So I don't know. And especially with COVID, I mean, things are different now. So, I don't know. I really don't know. I would just really want to ask more about it before I would jump to conclusions. The real truth is, as much as we think we know exactly how everything is going to look, we don't. Benjamin, my husband, had a ponytail when I met him. He had really thick hair, and he'd get up very early in the morning and start working, and he didn't have time to sit there and groom it. And so he had his hair pulled back in a ponytail. And then one day he saw a glimpse of himself, and yeah, he saw a glimpse of himself in the mirror, and he was like, that ponytail's got to go. And, he's a really classic guy. Bye, Kay. Great to see you. I'm going to wrap it up here too in a second. But, what was I going to say? Benjamin had to, there were just things. I mean, he adapted to me and I adapted to him. He worked out of his home, and he drove a car that was 10 years old. He had bought it new, but it was a 10-year-old Acura. And I mean, I couldn't even imagine in LA, dating a guy that had a 10-year-old Acura. And, I could have cared less. Like, I wouldn't have not been with this man for all the money in the world. I didn't care that he was renting his house. I didn't care that he drove a 10-year-old Acura. I didn't care that he had a ponytail. I was in love with him. Yeah. All right, everybody. I am going to say good night. I'm going to turn into a pumpkin. The clock just struck 7 p.m. here. I send my love to everybody. Andrea says, but then it's long distance across countries. Done that. We'll see. Yeah, Andrea, date foreigners. Just see if you can find foreigners right there. Hey, Joan, it's great to see you. Oh my gosh, I hope you're well, honey. Yeah, and just great news to everybody who comes on these calls. My husband and I are moving to Santa Fe, New Mexico. We're leaving Los Angeles. We bought a house. I am so, so, so excited. We bought a beautiful, beautiful home in Santa Fe, and we're going to be creating a whole new life for ourselves. So then, pretty soon, in about a month, the next time you see me in the background, you will see my new Santa Fe office, which is going to be very, very exciting. So it looks like January 15th, we'll move into this house. So very, very, very exciting. My love to everybody. Please come back and see me again. And if you liked this, give me some thumbs up and some hearts and some love. It feeds my ego to see lots of emojis up there in the corner. So please, click those emoji signs, and I send you all my love. Come back and see me again, okay? Lots of love to everybody. Mwah. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Stay safe, okay? Bye-bye.